Oregon State Hospital, originally named the Oregon Hospital for the Insane, was founded in the year 1862 and constructed in the Kirkbride Plan design in the year 1883. It is the oldest operating psychiatric hospital in the state of Oregon and one of the oldest continuously operated hospitals on the West Coast. In the year 1900, a survey of the hospital's patients revealed a total of 1,188 patients, ranging from the ages of 8 to 86 years old. The most common causes of insanity reported by the hospital at the time were excessive living, liquor, narcotics, and venereal disease. Mr. Wade here. Now I'm at a location where I'm going to do a history breakdown on every state has a crazy house or an asylum. Every place has one of those. Every state has a place that's called a mental ward. I'm breaking it down to different words of how they break it down, from crazy house to a asylum. Sounds worse to me than crazy ward, but they break it down that way: asylum, crazy ward, mental health. Now, that's a big moneymaker in any state, mental health. As you know, we all have some kind of mental health that we are struggling with, whether it's something small or something major. A lot of your houseless people are called co-occurring disorders, which means that they have more than one disorder. Besides being homeless, that thought of being homeless don't really bother them, but it's also something medically or mentally. It's called a co-occurring disorder. And Mr. Wade's breaking it down. So we have those places that take patients. Some people act crazy just to go into a mental ward to get money. That's a hustle that we all do out there. Not all of us, but some of us do. It's a strange hustle, you know. They collect their SSI check. They're sane so many days in a month, and right when it's time for them to actually show that they still have the same problem, they'll admit themselves into an ED, and then they'll go into a psych ward and play crazy, and then they'll come out and be discharged and maintain their check. Yes, that's called a ghetto hustle. I'm at Lone Fir Cemetery. What brings me here? I've done multiple videos here, me and Mrs. Crime, Tombstone Whispers. If you haven't already seen it, go ahead and click on it, like it, subscribe it, and check out all the videos that we've done. We've been doing this for about 3 years. Anyways, back to the subject. Mental health patients are put in places where they get mentally health to get better. Most of it is just for diagnosis, and to also, they use those mental patients as a way of seeing what's wrong with them. Maybe they can use this antidote on them to see if it works, and they use it out in the community, so a lot of people won't come to this drastic decision making or placed here by court or hospital to be in a psych ward. Now, psych wards are a little different, you know. Psych wards is the next step to being admitted into a mental health hospital. Now, mental health, psych ward, they kind of, run neck and neck, but psych ward is more different. Those are most of your violent people. Those are the ones that have outbursts from the medications, or they're just not all there, and they actually fight staff, medical, of course, that give them help to them. They don't see it that way because they're mentally broken. But I'm here at Lone Fir Cemetery for this. Stay tuned. On November 18th, 1942, a mass poisoning occurred at the hospital after a dining serving of scrambled eggs. Within minutes, patients complained of stomach and leg cramps, began vomiting, and had respiratory difficulties. Overall, 467 people got sick and 47 people died. In the year 1955, the hospital constructed a 676-bed building for geriatric patients to deal with increasing numbers of aging and elderly patients. The actual Oregon State Mental Health Hospital was made by this individual that I'm going to show you. He was the main one to start the mental health, and it kept growing and growing and growing and growing. In fact, mental patients in Oregon, they actually get admitted into a mental health hospital. You want to call it a psych ward or whatever. Physically harming to themselves, physically harming to other people, medical staff. and their families. They get set apart. They either get dislocated. Family don't even mess with them. They leave them there and collect money that they get from them, from the state. Another ghetto hustle. Mr. Wade's point is this, that he built the first Oregon State mental health hospital. I'm going to show you his monument and give respect to him. And there's a section that's way across the way that me and Mrs. Crime has been to, and got all the mental health patients buried out there, but there's no headstones or no plotations of where they are. They're just out there. Wow. This is the monument of James C. Hawthorne. He's 20 years a superintendent and physician at the Oregon State Hospital for the Insane. Born at Mercer, Pennsylvania, March 12, 1819. Entered into rest. They don't say that no more, but entered into rest February 15th, year 1881. This is the grave, the headstone, the monument, the statue, whatever you want to call it, of James C. Hawthorne, physician, and the actual beginner of the Oregon State Hospital for the Insane. Wow. Now I'm going to go to the section where they got all the mental health patients. Now it's roped off. Used to be roped off when me and Mrs. Crime came a year or so ago. But this is a section where all the mental health patients are at. And it's kind of sad that family forget about them and they just go on with their lives and say, hey, they're mentally gone. I'm going to leave them alone. That's how you got a lot of houseless people. They don't have nowhere to go because family gave up on them. They burn their bridges, or maybe they mental health patients. Wow. So right now I'm taking my, going over there to this mental health section. A lot of old graves out here. No joke about that. A lot of famous headstones from just being in movies and being on TV and everything like that. But yeah, definitely gonna check it out. Stay tuned. So we are now coming up onto the mental health patients area. As you see, the ropes and the signs up there, billboards explaining it. We're going to check that out. Stay tuned. All right, so we're here. And we have block 13. I'm checking to see if one of the guys actually had a headstone I'm looking for. Johnny H. No. Let Mr. Wade break it down to you. Now you see this right here. It says Chinese. They're gonna make a whole cemetery right here for some kind of Chinese thing, right? Okay. Let me break it down to you. Now it shows you how the world works. Me and Mrs. Crime came out here a little over a year ago, and this whole chain area right here was for the mentally insane. They changed it up now. So they're actually gonna bury people or do something over here in the cemetery that's gonna represent something totally different than the mental health part. They're gonna make it into something else. So they're gonna build on top of bodies. That's not the first time this has happened. It shows you how everything's monopolized, how everybody buys something out. If you don't know the history of it, you'll never know. Wow, that's deep, right? You know, earlier I was talking about breaking it down about how the mental health system works. And it's just crazy how they use those patients that would never get better. But if they put medication on them and show different signs of them progressing just a little bit, they'll put that actual drug on the market and make money off of it through other physicians so they can prevent others from coming, or maybe make them come there because they get messed up in the head with all the medications. But yeah, they're like lab rats. Hate to say that though, but they're like lab rats. As you see, this whole section was full of patients from Dr. Hawthorne's mentally insane hospital. So they died off because family forgot about them. They placed them out here. No headstones, nothing like that, no markings. And now you got another business that's buying that area to do something totally different for the cemetery. Something to do with Chinese. We're gonna check it out though. Stay tuned. So it says this area enclosed by chain may look bare now. From the late 1800s into the 1940s, this was a Chinese section of Lone Fir. An altar once stood at eastern end of area called Block 14. Most of the deceased were disintegrated and the remains sent to their respective home villages in China, in keeping with traditional cultural practices. However, research and community knowledge indicate that some burials still remain in its ground. Please respect this history and refrain from walking within the chain area. Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime, we both know that's not true. It just shows you when people are forgot about, the world forgets about them, and they do this kind of stuff right here. They're gonna build over this. This was not no town. This was not no section for them, but they make it seem like it was for them. It's not. It's for the mentally insane. Wow. Stay tuned. The year of 1868 in June was when this patient, James Chester, I might got it wrong, put his name up here. He was actually buried here. They call this 000, and now it's lot 13. But Tombstone Whispers giving respect to this mental health patient that died off, of course, inside the asylum, and was one of the few that were buried out here with a headstone. As you see, that's not here, or plantation. So they're making this area into something totally different. Am I pissed off? Hell yeah, I'm pissed off. It shows you what goes on. It's all about money. Can we now don't get me wrong, cemeteries have been ran over and stuff been built on top of them for years. You can look at the history of that. A lot of things been built over. So families either forget about their loved ones, or they die off as well. So there's nobody left. So they just go through and just whack it off because there's no money being made. And they make a shopping center. I've seen YouTube channels where people made a Target on and a Walmart actually on an old cemetery lot. There's been apartment buildings, homes, all kind of stuff. But yeah, wow. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the footage that Mr. Wade has gathered up to give you guys some footage of Lone Fir Cemetery. You know, we always bring the unfortunate stories and the fortunate stories. So look at our channel, click that like button. A lot more coming from Tombstone Whispers. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. Stay tuned for a lot more from Tombstone Whispers.